All right, so yeah, I'll just lose this. I'll cut that out. Okay, so today's topic is essentially talking about self-belief, the reason for it, and why you should believe in yourself as you move forward. So, first off, my definition of self-belief is fully having confidence in yourself that you're going to achieve something or achieve an end goal. And the reasons for self-belief and why you should believe in yourself. Well, when you think about it and you look at the goals you've set out for yourself, there's really no reason why you shouldn't believe in yourself because for a lot of you, your goals have already been achieved by other people. And you saying that you can't achieve it just says that you think that you were born inferior to them. So, yeah, you have anything to say about that?
Self-belief.
Yeah,
Well, I think when talking about self-belief, the first thing that kind of comes in mind for me is self-love,
hmm
really, because at the end of the day, if you don't believe in yourself, it's kind of cliche to say, but like if you don't believe in yourself, no one is going to believe in
believe in
yourself,
it.
right? Your dreams, for example.
hmm
And so when we're talking about self-belief, right? It's not just about achieving goals and everything like that, right? It's
Yeah,
about everything, even the little things like, um, can I wake up in the morning
mm,
early? And everything like that, can I wake up in the morning early? Can I lose weight? Like, and everything like that. Can I make money and everything like that? All this type of goals. It's really just about understanding. Um, for me, it's all about like, self-love. Like, I deserve it, right?
yeah,
I deserve it and everything. And it comes back to what you just said, right? If other people made it, why?
why not me?
Exactly, why not me? This is, it's kind of cool question to ask yourself.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's really just, self-belief is, I think self-belief is super important. Again, because it's tough to navigate life
hmm
without believing in yourself. It's just, um, I don't, I don't see myself existing, walking around without believing in myself, right? It's weird.
yeah,
It's kind of like just living on autopilot,
right.
living to go where life brings you. So it's kind of weird. I don't know if it makes sense, but
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
that's kind of where I come from. That's why it's important for me. Why is it important for you?
Well, self-belief is important for me because, growing up, I struggled a lot with self-confidence and such. And a lot of the time when I came to college here, I looked around and I noticed that, I'm not trying to sound cocky or anything, but I noticed that, hey, I'm better than these people at this. And they're more confident in their abilities than I am. And I also realized that, with a bunch of things, people never, even if you're good at something, if you don't make it known, people will never choose you for that thing. It's like work. The guy who goes to the interview, talks to the interviewer, he sounds very sure, he is very sure of himself. The interviewer is going to pick it. So it's all about conveying that you're capable to other people. Because you need that with a bunch of things like, because people need to believe in you for a bunch of things, like a service or your product or and such. So, and it comes back to self-belief when you look at the greats, when you look at someone like Cristiano Ronaldo early in his career, I don't know if you remember this, but there was like an interview where they asked him who the best player in the world is. And he was in Manchester United, so it's like 2006 or 7 before he
Yeah,
won
yeah,
the
I think I
Ballon d'Or.
remember.
Yeah.
And I think some of the other guys even laughed.
Yeah, they did laugh at it. But
Yeah,
he eventually proved them wrong. He became the best in the world and such.
yeah,
It's the same thing. You look at Muhammad Ali before he won. Before he fought, was it George Foreman? He said, I am the greatest and such. So with the greats, they always had that kind of self-belief in themselves before they even made it. And it's the same thing. You have to reassure yourself before you get to the top level and put in the work. And to build self-belief daily, you need to keep putting in the work for different things. So like let's say you go to the gym every day. There's no way after like a year or two you wouldn't think to yourself, damn, I'm strong. Like you're going to think you're strong simply because you took action every single day to build up that belief in yourself. And yeah.
Yeah. So just to touch on what you just said. So I think a good way, because you touched on confidence and
Hmm.
self-confidence and everything. I think a
Yeah.
good way to kind of break it down is for me to kind of, tie everything up is confidence comes from competence,
Hmm.
which comes from action,
Yeah.
which comes from self-belief, right?
Mm.
And so, and most of the times, you know what, self-belief and action are interchangeable because you don't need to believe in something to take action, but
Yeah.
taking action will make you to believe in something. And what I mean by that is if you go to the gym,
Hmm.
you don't like you have so like you're not confident, you're not competent,
Hmm.
but you take action, and that
Yeah.
action will kind of build self-belief now that you can
Mm.
lift weight, and you'll take more action, and then now you're competent, and then
Hmm.
now you're confident,
In
right?
that ability. Yeah.
Exactly. And so that's kind of how I kind of break it down into really understanding how confidence is tied to self-belief, and for anyone not even looking to be a great
Mm.
Muhammad Ali, Cristiano Ronaldo, and everything like that. It's just important to have that in the day to day, on a day to day as a human, to have self belief because again, it just allows you to somehow be competent and confident in some of the abilities that you have, right?
Mm.
Because it's so hard. Again, I just feel like it's so hard to walk, to kind of exist without to exist on autopilot, to just do things on
Yeah.
autopilot without
Forever.
knowing where you're going and everything like that. And so that's why I kind of think self belief is important.
Yeah.
And yeah, to kind of touch on what you just said about confidence and how you build it and everything like that.
Mm.
So that's pretty interesting. And yeah, I think that's the way to if we're kind of breaking down how to build self belief.
Mm.
Would you say it's just action? Or would you say you could just look at yourself in the mirror and just shout affirmations and
Nah.
just be that guy?
Well, it's a mix of two, because along with taking action, I don't know if you've noticed it, but some people could be really good at something, but they'll still like they wouldn't be extremely confident in their abilities.
Yeah.
So it's also, you take action, and if you're doing something really hard, I feel like there's no way that you wouldn't say, I'm not good at this thing or something. Like it's very unusual when people are good at stuff that they're not very confident in their abilities. And so it has to be a mix of the two. I'll say the most important out of both of them is probably taking action, but you also need to look at stuff and say, yeah, I can do this and I could take it to the next level. It's kind of like, so for me, you know, I used to be very skinny and I've gained a lot of weight and put on a lot of muscle and strength since then. So that was extremely hard for me to do. I still remember like staying up very late to work out, and even when I didn't have a lot of equipment and such, just continuously working out. And after like 2 years, I'm like, shit, well, that all amounted to something. So I looked at that and I said, I remember my friend told me back then that after working out, like the things I learned would transfer to other areas of my life. And so now I believe that, if I could do that, I could do a bunch of other stuff. And in that same time frame, I was making like YouTube shorts and I was able to scale the channel really high. Although I didn't make money from it, I got like a bunch of views from it and such. So I just told myself, yeah, I'm gonna try again to do YouTube again and scale the channel high. And I believe that I could do it because I've done it before and I took action and I'm willing to take action again. So that's part of it.
So you think, well, I really have nothing to add, to be honest, because I also believe um, taking action is more important than self-loathing, if you can
Mm.
call it like that, because you just look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good.
Mm.
You're essentially lying to yourself in the beginning
Exactly.
because you're not that good. And so to kind of touch on what you just said in the beginning, the
Hmm.
part where you kind of have to acknowledge that you're not good enough is also part of the process to go from not believing in yourself to self-belief to being confident, right?
Mm.
And going into And it's just, trying to like, acknowledge the fact that I'm not good and I need to learn shit. Okay. I need
Yeah.
to learn. I need to take action to learn. I need to, you just need to acknowledge that you're not as good as you think you are. And then just, learn and, build that belief, self-belief, and then just, kind of, yeah, build the competence and then be confident, right?
Mm.
And you took the example with the gym. I think it's a good example because at the end of the day, were you shouting in the mirror, being like, "I'm that nigga, I'm that guy," and
Well,
everything?
nah, I didn't
Exactly,
do that.
exactly. Right. You won't, you won't. You're not going anywhere if you're just shouting in the mirror without taking action. Now,
Yeah,
if you combine both of them, eventually you amount to big things, right?
exactly.
But yeah, I think it's super important to just kind of make sure people understand that self belief isn't just self loathing,
Yeah,
because yeah, it's two different, two completely different things.
it's also a mix of taking action. But another thing I wanted to add is talk about like confidence. Let's say for men in their general area of life, like being a confident man, would you say it has to deal with like being good at a bunch of different things per se? Like taking action in a bunch of different steps. Like, if you want to be confident in your physical abilities, you train. If you want to be confident socially, you talk to a lot of people and put yourself out there, and you have to do that like a bunch of times. You know, if you want to be confident financially, you have to make a bunch of money, and you have to like build up on all these habits until like you're like 30 or late 20s before you become that guy to become really confident. So would you say it's taking a bunch of action in different areas to become confident as a whole thing?
So the first thing I want to touch on is the thinking that a man should be confident or mature enough, because that's a mature man and everything like that.
Hmm.
Um, at 30 years old, I think you don't need to be 30 years old because I think experience doesn't come from age;
Yeah,
it comes from doing.
doing
It's
stuff.
literally that experience. So if I started improving myself when I was 14 and now I'm 24, right?
Hmm.
I took 10 years to work on myself. If you started at 21 and you're 30, you took 9. I have more experience than you.
Yeah.
And so it wouldn't be crazy that I'm more confident at 25 than you are at 30 years old. And if you start late at 30 years old, don't expect to be as confident as I am at 25, whereas I've been doing it for 10 years and you've been doing it for 5 years,
Hmm.
right? And so I think it's really just experience. And again, it comes back to touch on the second thing you asked about, which was if a man needs to be competent in every kind of area in his life to be
Hmm.
confident. I think it depends. You don't have to be competent in everything, but I think you should be T-shaped.
T-shape.
Yeah,
Like, what do you mean by that?
T-shaped is basically a man. Well, a man. It could be a woman as well. I just think people should be T-shaped, and that's personal. Because you could be good in every area. You could have some knowledge in every area, and
Mm.
then on one topic, you're the best,
Yeah.
right? So like because I'm obsessed about being the best in certain areas of my life, I want to
Mm.
be T-shaped, but I don't want to neglect everything else to the
Mm.
point where I'm
Only
kind of,
good at
yeah,
one thing.
exactly, to the point where I'm completely dumb, right?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of that's kind of how I see things, and I think you can bring back everything to the process that we just kind of shared earlier, right? You have to acknowledge the fact that you're not good enough.
Mm.
Then you have to take action. You build self-belief. You take action again. You're now competent, and then you're confident. And that you can take that and apply it to sport. You can take that and apply it to business. You can take that and apply it to math,
Mm.
physics. You can take that and apply it to everything you want. It's just a process, right? You have to acknowledge to be able to take action that you're not good enough.
Yeah.
And you cannot lie to yourself that I'm decent, I'm good enough. You just have to acknowledge I'm not good enough, right?
Mm.
I don't have enough money, okay? I'm just not that smart, okay? I
Mm.
need to read the book
Yeah.
to be able to understand it. And I think that's, that's kind of, how I see things. You don't need to be good and super competent in every area of your life to be confident. You can just, you can just be, you can just know a little bit about everything,
Mm,
and know a lot about one thing.
something.
Yeah, like some things. So like one, two, three things, right? Like
Mm,
big topics. Because at the end of the day, you cannot always be the smartest person in the room. And
mm,
usually, when you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room, meaning you're not evolving, right?
yeah.
You're not learning anything. What are you doing in this room, right?
Mm,
And so that's kind of how I view things.
mm.
What do you think about it?
Well, yeah, I would agree with that because it takes years to develop one skill. So to kind of be good at everything, and there's so many different areas in the world, like even just courses in school and such, different courses. So to be the best at everything would take multiple lifetimes, pretty much. So you should focus on, you know, what you want really, and also just touch on other aspects like socially and such, because that's very important. You need it to network, like be the kind of guy who can, approach strangers and have conversations with people, and such. So yeah, just put yourself out there, with a bunch of other stuff as well. Maybe you'd want to start a business or something, gain experience in that. And yeah. So anything else you want to talk about? Or,
No, I think we kind of touched on everything.
yeah.
When it comes to self-belief, it's important because what I look at, to when I think about the importance of something in
Mm,
my life, is that I look at fulfillment,
mm,
and I don't look at being happy. And so when I look at fulfillment, if I want to be fulfilled,
mm,
I think I want some type of self-belief, right? To be able
yeah.
to tackle some of the stuff that are going to make me fulfilled. And so that's why it's important for me, for example. And then how you build self-belief, it's basically the process we kind of, the five-step process we kind of went over.
Mm.
And I think that's pretty much it. Do you have anything you want to add here?
I think that's about it. So
All right, great. Well, that was
yeah,
a good video.
yeah. Thanks for
Thanks for
watching,
having
guys.
me.
Good shit.